I had to turn off the alerts for your personal account's tweets because it was just like everything AOC says, you just retweet.
Yeah. Okay. So let me clarify. Let me clarify this for the morning. So I did a retweet storm from AOC's account because I went on there this morning and then um, what do we what do I see but a bunch of fucking lefties out there thinking they're being edgy, saying a bunch of dumb shit. And look, I'm not saying she's above reproach, and I'm not saying that you don't criticize politicians or keep them in, or you try to push them further left or whatever else. Not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is that it seems like an odd time to do that when the reason is because she had like some kind of popular stream for a couple days, and then people are thinking, oh, she should have done this, she should have done that, she should have, she's, and then manufacturing like policy complaints when they're, what are you complaining about? What is she? The one that got me was, um, they're saying now she's pro fracking. Did she change her position on fracking?
It's not what all what she said. Play the video.
All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Um, oh,
It could be one thing if she did say
Jamie,
that,
pull it
but
up.
she didn't.
yeah, exactly.
Hold up.
So let's go to let's go to AOC on what was it? Who was on? She was on with
Tapper, right?
Tapper. That's right. All right. So let me see. Okay, and let's see this thing.
Bother you? Be completely candid, Vice President Biden's position on the issue of fracking has been confusing. During the primary, he sounded supportive of a ban. On Saturday, he told voters in Pennsylvania, quote, I'm not banning fracking, period. It sounds like now he's on the other side of this issue from you. Does it bother you?
You know, it does not bother me. I believe, and I have a very strong position on fracking. You know, the science is very clear. The methane emissions from fracking are up to 64 times more powerful than CO2 emissions at trapping heat in the air. And just from a perspective of stopping climate change, you know, there is a scientific consensus. However, that is my view. Vice President Biden has made very clear that he does not agree with a fracking ban, and I consider that, you know, it will be a privilege to lobby him should we win the White House, but we need to focus on winning the White House first, and I'm happy to make my case, but I also understand that he is in disagreement on that issue.
Do you worry that his opposition to a fracking ban is going to hurt young voter turnout?
Well, you know, I believe that young people right now have a very disciplined activist mindset, and they are not here with the intent of voting for their favorite person or voting for, you know, someone that they think is perfect as president. I think young people are actually quite disciplined and quite realistic and pragmatic in their vote, and they want to vote for who they are going to lobby. Right now, young people are so clear on their stances on many political issues that they believe that they want to vote for a president that is at least going to be receptive to their advocacy, activism, and protest, frankly. And so, you know, there is no question that Joe Biden is a much better person in that position to be receptive and actually listen to the voices of advocates than Donald Trump, who is intensely focused on enriching himself and his friends.
So,
Okay. All right, bro. I mean, that's a total
We're in,
pro
like,
fracking stance. She
what-
completely reversed course now. You know,
Yeah, she specifically said, I'm against fracking. Biden's not. I'm
Yeah.
going to lobby him to
Yeah, but
get
it's a
short credit. But that's not the
bro,
point.
bro,
It's
a
like
complete rad
people
lib
who are
position.
attacking that. No, but people who are attacking that have just don't know what they're talking about, right? Because the whole point that he said is stopping the subsidies. The industry is not profitable without subsidies. You don't
Right.
have to ban it because that's the kind of thing that, you know, Amy Kobe Bryant would, you know, probably find some way to overrule. All you have to do is stop giving them subsidies, then it becomes economically infeasible. So that's the right position, and I think it's actually, I mean, I don't trust them. I don't trust the corporate Democrats to actually do this shit.
No.
But
I don't
I
think she
think
does
they
either.
no, but I think that the way you package this is to just say, hey, we're going to subsidize other fuel sources that aren't going to kill us. Like, that's the rational position. You don't have to ban it because that's just going to make it a much harder fight. What are they going to say if it's like, oh, the Joe Biden wants to end subsidies to fracking? Do you think that is going to appeal to anybody, that's some sort of horrible thing? People don't like subsidies anyway, especially not to that industry. We should be subsidizing green technologies, renewable technologies, and stuff that's not going to burn us all.
Well, okay, so
that's the
let's
better
go to,
messaging position.
all right, so let's go to this tweet. All right, so Howie Hawkins, who I voted for, went ahead and he took issue with his interview, saying AOC repeatedly refused to call for an immediate ban on fracking on halt on new fossil fuels. She took my Green New Deal and added 20 years to the timeline, stripped out of public ownership out of the energy system, and massive cut for military budget to pay for it. Now, okay, first of all, where the fuck would the Green New Deal be if AOC didn't make it commonplace in politics? If we just left it up to the Greens to push that shit, where the fuck would it be? Can I ask you that?
The Greens only show up in the national conversation after the Democratic primary and before the general election. It's the only time any of them have any kind of national reach at all. And that sucks. I want them to be a stronger force, but they're a bunch of slackers and cranks, man. They aren't doing the job. They're not doing the hard work of building power locally.
All right. And the other part of this. All right. So Howie Hawkins introduced a Green New Deal.
He's repeating the same faulty logic too. And I know I've heard him in interviews. He understands how the subsidies work.
Right.
He's just framing this as a way to take a shot at her.
Yes.
He knows that you don't need to ban fracking. You just need to cut the subsidies. That's all you have to do. It makes the industry unviable.
Even then, what is the implication here? That she's in support of fracking. That's what it looks like. She refused the call for immediate ban on fracking. So what is that saying? What, she's pro-fracking? She thinks fracking's good? It's a way to clean energy? Because then afterwards you see a bunch of lefties going out there saying that's exactly what she supports. That she's reverse course. She's inconsistent on her policy.
We're just living in it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that part of it. Now, as for these other complaints here, okay, so Howie Hawkins had introduced a Green New Deal on his platform back in, was it 2010? Something like that? And Jill Stein ran on a Green New Deal.
He said it was earlier than that, didn't he?
2008, 2010.
Doesn't he have a follow-up tweet where he talks about what year it was? I think it was earlier than that.
Yeah, but okay, so regardless, he's been pushing a Green New Deal, I guess his version of a Green New Deal, for years, right? Which is cool. And where did that get did that enter anywhere into the national conversation? Would that have been on a presidential debate? Would you have ever heard anything about a Green New Deal if it wasn't for Bernie running on it as a presidential candidate and AOC recoining the term and putting it out there again? Because I remember how that shit came up, because it wasn't even a full-throated policy position. She did an interview and offhand mentioned something like, we need something like a Green New Deal, and then all of a sudden it became a whole thing and it was a resolution and Ed Markey backed it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there was goals, it was policy goals or something.
Right, but let's be real about this shit. Beforehand, more than likely, the Green New Deal that Howie Hawkins was pushing was so under the fucking radar, there's nothing to rip off. Sorry, but there's nothing to rip off.
But it's not like intellectual property that you can copyright. It's an idea for a policy. It's not something that. It's like only a narcissist would be like, oh, that's my idea. They took it. It's like you want the idea to spread. It's like saying you can't talk about Marxism because you didn't write Capital, right? It's like these are ideas that are out there, and they're trying to get them in front of more people, get them involved in the discussion, in the policy goals. That's what a piece of policy is. It's not like, oh, it was my idea to ban assault rifles. You don't have
I came up with an assault weapons ban. That was my thing.
Like, he didn't have to write it that way. He should have written it like, you know, she.
But, I mean, what he look like is another one of these leftist edge lords that just wants to have a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you could take that off of Howie Hawkins' account and put it on anybody on the left, and that's the way a lot of them are sounding right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, people are pissed off, and I get being pissed off, but like, there's nothing to attack with, like, their position on this. Like, they've moved to the Democratic Party, right? Like,
yes.
Democratic Party is much more open to having some sort of Green New Deal type legislation than they were even a year ago.
Right, and you're getting other people in office that are going to be supportive of a Green New Deal. You're making lefty candidates more viable now going forward if you put somebody in that position to run for president in Senate seats. What good does it do anybody to go and point out, oh, you're not talking about this enough. You're not talking about that enough. You're not doing this to my liking.
Yeah, and like his whole thing about like stripping the military budget to pay for it, like that is, I don't know, understand how that's like, the part about the extending the timeline is that's a real concern. Like, right. I can see him being upset about that or whatever, but it's also like, this is what they've got. Like, they wrote that bill with the idea that this is something we can actually get passed, right? They didn't write the bill like, this is what we're going to put on our walls and dream about.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And that's
the Green Party hasn't been doing the organizing. They haven't. They don't have anybody in Congress. They don't have any of this shit. That's what you do. It's like, it sucks, and I hate to sound like a fucking, a shit lib, but like, you can't, when it comes to that level where she is in the U.S. Congress, one of like 400 and something reps, like, you can't always have every policy exactly as you want it. You have to do some sacrifices in order to get the thing, in place. You can't just stand by. It's like, you can't.
But let's be clear about that too. It's not like the position of where the Green New Deal that she proposed is well to the left of anything else that has come forward on the climate change front in Congress.
Yeah.
So
of course.
That's not
and
like this is a complete lib compromise either.
Like, he's doing it like, he's not presenting it like she's his ally, right? Exactly. And they need to work together, which is how it should be. They're on the left. He's doing it like, I'm a Democrat attacking a Republican, right?
Right.
Which, fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should do that, but like, is that the most productive usage of your clout? Is that the most productive way to get policies passed, or is that just how you can try to get in the spotlight personally? Like,
yes,
he's like, I don't understand his problem. Like, he's, when you hear him talk, he's got some good ideas, but he's just like running this half-ass campaign where it's like, I don't know why he thinks anybody should vote for him. It's like they've got the right policies, but they just don't have any kind of organization.
All right, so I got a response here to one of my tweets that I'll just read out here. So I put something about when did you become pro-fracking also. Sounds like politics to me, playing the game of rubbing elbows and making deals in order to build political capital to get your proposals out. Okay? And